The city has a broad wide view, so too narrow it's
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, on the go at ESPNSA.com. I recommend you go there post haste because it's Wednesday at 4:33. That means Maddy Skye joining us of My San Antonio. You'll see her live at ESPNSA.com. Maddy, how are you today?
How are you guys?
We are good. We're having a better day than Judge Nelson Wolff or some guy that assaulted Judge Nelson Wolff.
Definitely, yeah. I just saw the video right now on your Twitter feed. I was shocked. I stepped away from looking at Twitter for about 20 minutes because I was working on another story. And I looked back at Twitter and I was like, wait, what happened? Nelson Wolff got assaulted. And what a weird thing, though, like to not wear, not that the guy knew, but just, I guess, as luck would have it, not wearing your mask. And then right behind you is the guy who made the ordinance a thing, is right behind you. How often does that happen?
Well, I mean, not often, but I mean, if you see the video and assault is a stretch of the words, although I guess when you're the county judge, you know, maybe he offended him and it turned into us. I don't know what card he was
handing.
That's
an assault, guys. That's an assault. That is unwanted touching. It's not a matter of forceful touching or how hard you were touched. It's a matter that you were touched. That's an assault. And
but the judge is trying to force a card into this guy's hand. I don't know. And you can't do that to Nelson Wolff, and you shouldn't do that to anybody. But at the same time, you know, I'm looking at this video, and the initial descriptions are the cashier was trying to get this guy to put a mask on, and it was hard to tell if that was happening, but clearly he's at the checkout stand. Had that guy been in Lowe's the entire time shopping without his mask on? By the way, I don't know what Lowe's they were at, but I've already said this on the air once, but I've been mask shamed twice during all this, and once was at a Lowe's over off of Planco. The other one was down in Florida, but people giving you crap for wearing a mask.
I'm against people telling me what to do with whether or not I shouldn't be wearing a mask or not. And also, like Jason said, Rob said, I wouldn't want anybody getting even that close to me to touch my hand, to knock anything out of my hand. You don't have the right to touch me in any way, shape, or form, or knock anything out of my hand, or to tell me that I shouldn't be wearing a mask either. Like, that's my personal safety, and that's me protecting you and myself. Just the world is crazy right now. It makes me want to avoid being anywhere. I don't even want to go to HEB anymore.
Do you get the feeling, Maddy, that this is the type of story that leads the national news, that it's going to be picked up on every possible feed? So this evening at 5:30, and it's certainly going to lead the locals, but this evening at 5:30 and further, we're going to have everybody standing on one side or the other. In San Antonio, no matter what occurs here, is not going to look good, because this will be framed in the backdrop of the state of Texas and the massive spike that we're going through. San Antonio rapidly ascending another one of those lists we do not want to be on. And we have our county judge being physically assaulted in a Lowe's by a guy who should have never even been in that store. I mean, every optic here is terrible. And can you imagine, you turn around, you see a guy, and it's a very strange video to watch because it's just surreal. Because the judge has never been one to wear anything other than the Lone Ranger mask. I mean, not that, but he's basically looks like a bank robber everywhere he goes. So you turn around, a guy with a bank robber bandana is trying to hand you wear a mask card. Dude's a little freaked out, and he finds out it's the county judge. Serves his ass right. Holy crap, I got to go.
For some reason, I found it funny because earlier in the day I had seen a picture of Wolff out eating, and he was kind of wearing more dressier clothes, and he shows up at Lowe's kind of just like in this baggy shirt with this thing completely over his face, and he kind of just pops up out of nowhere and just hands him the car.
Let's face it, if you're going to Lowe's, half time you go to Lowe's, you're in the middle of working on something, and you're going up there not looking your best. I mean, you know what I mean?
I had a different image in my head, I guess. But yeah, it's the whole mask thing is something that I never thought we'd be sitting here discussing. I thought it was one of those things, kind of like a seatbelt. But even with seatbelts, I mean, there's people that will listen to the ding-ding in the car and still will refuse to put their seatbelt on. But earlier, I kept complimenting people at my HEB, saying, oh yeah, people have been wearing their masks. Everybody is abiding by the rules. But just this past Sunday, I got mad because I was in line and I follow the stickers on the floor precisely. If the cashier hasn't told me to move up, I won't move up yet. I give everybody their space and I follow the rules. And I was trying to check out, was watching, you know, my groceries getting checked out, making sure nothing was getting charged wrong. And all of a sudden I feel like this whole group right by me in line, like way past those sticker markers. And not only were they like right next to me, they didn't have masks on. And I kind of looked at the cashier like, are you going to tell them something or do I have to tell them something? Because they were right by my shoulder for some reason, not wearing their masks, not following directions. And I had to tell them to step back because, I mean,
oh, you did?
Come on now. Yeah. Yeah. So they
how'd they react?
At least step back. They kind of gave me attitude and rolled their eyes. But I mean, the stickers are there for a reason. It'd be different if maybe if you were wearing a mask. I've had people close to me wearing masks, you know, reaching around me to get something into the aisle or something, but you're not wearing a mask.
You know, so I noticed I did that to somebody at a grocery store. I leaned in to grab something over somebody because, you know, I'm tall. I'm used to reaching over, you know, and grabbing something without any, you know, people even knowing I'm there. But as I was doing it, I realized like, oh my God, I'm completely crowding somebody, and I apologize. And I don't even think they knew I was there. You know, I was like, oh my God, I'm sorry. And they jumped like, what? Where were you? But I've actually been guilty of that myself. So let's fall back on just the general numbers that we're dealing with, and you guys that are in the press covering this on a regular basis. You know, you can just feel the sense of foreboding that's coming out from all of my media feeds, that everybody sees this and goes, we witnessed this happen in other parts of the country, and we are following to a T, almost by the day, the exponential growth that we saw elsewhere, and this is about to get as bad as we possibly could have thought it would have been in the middle of July.
Yeah, I honestly was breathing a sigh of relief because as of like May, I kept saying, you know, San Antonio is doing so well compared to other cities. And my friends in Chicago and New York keep saying, oh, just don't get too cautious because it's coming. And I was like, no, we have a good handle on it. And now it's like I'm seeing phrases like, this is San Antonio's New York moment. This is this is that. And it's so weird. Even like daily life, it feels like it's reverting back to March. Like, I don't go anywhere anymore, really. I even like my dreams. Do you remember those early pandemic dreams were so intense? I don't know if you've read stories on that, but my dreams are getting a lot more intense, I guess, because my mind is so active. I found myself more on TikTok because there's nothing else to do. From like May to June, I really wasn't on TikTok anymore, but now I'm back on TikTok. I'm back constantly.
It sounds like Twitter. You're talking about a drug. You know, I've relapsed.
Well, it is an addiction. Ask Ben Roethlisberger, man. It is an addiction.
I love TikTok. So little things like that, like I guess my mental state is what I'm trying to say is kind of reverting back to what it was in March. And especially now too, because so many of your friends either have had it or have had scares. And so it's just like, oh, you know, not that we're taking it more seriously because we were taking it seriously in March as well, but it's kind of just coming full circle.
No, but I do think, you know, taking it more seriously, you know, in March, we had conversations of, do you know anybody that's had it? And now I think all of us know somebody who has had it. And so it is a little bit different, but you talk about, you know, with the recent spikes and, you know, and I don't know if the governor has said anything recently, but, you know, I just got or saw a deal half an hour ago, Randy Rogers. They were scheduled to play out at Flores Country Store Friday night, and they have canceled because of the spike. And they also do the government mandated regulations on live events, and for the safety of everybody, they're pulling out of the show. And this is the rescheduled show that they had already canceled because when all the live shows were canceled, and now, you know, you at least have one major act saying, you know what, we're not doing this. You know, and I imagine you're going to start seeing a lot more of those kind of things, events that were planned thinking they were going to be good. I saw Judson did that with their graduation with the spikes. They're gonna start pulling those out.
That's really, I feel for those kids. There's a lot of restaurants, bars, even a tubing outfitter on the Comal they've all voluntarily decided to close. And I just wrote a story about the Friendly Spot. They were forced to temporarily close for a period of time last night because of a threat on social media. A guy who said that he had tested positive, so that he was going to go and purposely spread it at the Friendly Spot. So obviously the Friendly Spot did what they needed to do and closed, brought in a disinfectant team called SAPD. They went through their records and they asked, you know, their staff if they had seen this person within this past week. They said no. So as they said, they don't have any indicators that he made good on his threat, but they took all the precautions that they needed to do. They're back open today, but it's just such a shame that on top of everything that small businesses are having to go through right now, they're also having to deal with these hoaxes or social media threats. Anybody with a social media can just say, you know, hey, I have COVID, I'm going to show up here. And there is a precedent. Somebody earlier in April had claimed that they were going to do something similar, and they were arrested by federal agents, and they have a bunch of charges against them. So there is a precedent. This has happened before, but there's no telling what's going to happen with this guy. Yeah. So SAPD said that the report wasn't ready when I contacted them. So it's just, for San Antonio had been doing so well for the past few months. I kept saying, you know, San Antonio, yeah, we have cases, but I feel like we have a good hold on it. And now it's just gone haywire.
So much so that the mayor and the county judge have gone back to the daily televised briefings. Yeah,
I don't know. Is there one today? I'm not sure if there's one today, but it had gone to Tuesdays and Thursdays only. But I know there was one yesterday. Yesterday was Tuesday, but
there was one Monday as well. I believe they picked them back up because of the urgency of the situation. Maddy Skye joining us of mysanantonio.com. Your Twitter feed, I think, is a news source for so many in San Antonio. And I do think the questions are now, we were fairly comfortable a month ago that Fiesta and all the things that have been postponed and moved to later dates were going to be relatively safe, at least we hoped. But as we head into July and what we're looking at, you know, in the mid of our first wave and not even the beginning of the second that is already been forecasts at some point in the fall, are we starting to think that we're not going to get any of those events in October, November?
I don't see how it's possible, honestly. But at this point, after all we've been through this year, it's like, yes, we love Fiesta, but I mean, there's so many other things, kind of like a read the room type of thing. At this point, I love it. And I even have like medals already ready for this year, but I can wait till next year. It's not even worth it.
Well, and you know, I kind of look at that. I had a friend wanting to plan a trip to Vegas coming up, and I'm like, you know, if Vegas isn't going to be Vegas, I don't know that I want to go for a partial Vegas. I don't know that you know, I mean, as much as I love Vegas, and you know, in the past have gone to Vegas, I just, you know, going to Vegas and not being able to do Vegas just doesn't sound fun to me. And having a Fiesta that can't be Fiesta, you know, as much as I don't like the crowds at Nyosa, I think I would actually miss the crowd. And you know what I mean? There's just something about it that I don't want to go and have an event that's just awkward.
Right. Yeah. I had a friend, I know somebody that went to Vegas, and they said it was just really sad seeing it that way. And I think that's kind of that goes for everything, you know, going to bars that you're used to being so crowded that you're usually complaining about, I don't want to go if it's so packed. And then you go now and it's just really empty and no dancing. It's like, why did you even come? What's the point? But at the same time, you want to support local business. So it's just like a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, and it felt like we were almost out, and to get pulled back in is devastating to a lot. So remember, if you're feeling a little bit heavy, somebody will listen. Make the call, reach out to somebody, make a text, and do that for those that you might not have heard from for a while, because I do think the anxiety level has exponentially grown over the last 10 days for so many of us, because we put ourselves in position probably, or maybe, to catch this when we'd been so diligent before, right at the time when it was really spreading. And I think we all realized we might have loosened that noose just a little bit.